Well, I think we have got just about everyone on. So, Rob, I'll pass it over to you. We usually have some comments popping up in the chat, but it's completely up to you if you want to kind of just go through the session first and then do questions at the end, or if you're happy to take them during. We also ask everyone to raise hands on Zoom. So if anyone does have any questions, rather than just shouting out, if you could raise your hands, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I'll do questions at the end if that's okay. If everyone just wants to throw them in the chat, and then we can go through them one by one afterwards.
Sounds good. Cheers, Rob. I'll pass over to you then.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you everyone, first of all, for joining. I really appreciate you taking the time out. I'm joined today by our co-founder, Annika Sanderson, who should be on the call somewhere. So I'm Rob. I'm the CEO and founder of Bulls. I've worked in the social media industry for what seems like a very long time now. It goes back to 2005 when I studied in the US. I went to university there, and Facebook had just come out, which was pretty cool at the time. It's changed a lot to what it is now, but it was nice to see the kind of evolution of social media and see things like YouTube going from a dating website to, like, obviously as it is now with influencers and brands utilizing it, to like the growth and demise of X or Twitter, and then seeing obviously the growth of Instagram and now TikTok. And we're going to talk primarily today about LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is actually one of the oldest social networks, that is still available. People forget how old it is, and that's also kind of gone on its own journey and evolution, especially since Microsoft acquired them. And yeah, it's good to see the platform updating and becoming a lot more relevant and just helping towards growing personal brands. So we're going to talk today a lot about personal brands and LinkedIn in particular. So I'll start with the journey if I can, if it actually moves. So yeah, my career started in like 2008, and all I've ever done is work in the social media industry, which makes me feel really old and a bit sad. But it's nice to have seen how things have changed. I worked for various brands and then for agencies, and then I decided I wanted to do my own thing and start my agency, my own social media agency, in 2015. So that was the birth of Social Republic in Manchester. If anybody is thinking of starting the business, I was speaking to somebody this morning, and kind of first advice would be just go for it. Like, I wish I'd started sooner. It's not easy, and if it were, everyone would do it. But yeah, if you are thinking about doing your own thing, go for it. It's an exciting journey, and you'll definitely get a lot out of it. So started to create our own campaigns as an agency. We worked with, eventually going from starting an agency in a one-bedroom apartment in Manchester, to ended up having a full agency working with the likes of Disney, the NHS, the British Red Cross. The growth was great. We saw a lot of things, and one thing in particular was around LinkedIn, kind of an underutilized platform. It still is today. So there's a lot of opportunity out there. There's only 1% of their 900 million users create content on a regular basis. So if you can be part of that 1%, you're going to make a lot of difference, and you're going to be seen by a lot of people. And yeah, there's a huge amount of opportunity there. So back in 2019, before the boom of OpenAI, ChatGPT, we started to look at how we could almost replicate what we were doing as an agency, but create a platform like Vols, to help people specifically with LinkedIn campaigns. So becoming more consistent, coming up with content ideas, and then being able to analyze how well that content was performing. So we started to work with Manchester Metropolitan University. I call it MMU, and then I went to a student event on Monday, and everyone called it Man Met, and I just felt totally uncool. So I'm calling it Man Met from now on. But yeah, really good process we went through with them, and we created some really innovative AI features. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately for us, the tech wasn't there to kind of put everything together, especially when working with LinkedIn. So we had to wait a couple of years for things to kind of progress, and then that's why there's kind of that gap between 2019 and 2024. It takes a long time to build these kind of solutions, especially when you're doing it on the side as well. It's not kind of your full-time job. If it was a full-time job, it probably would have been a lot quicker. So yeah, we spent, I'd say, the most of last year working on the product, getting it ready for people to use, and then now we're obviously helping creators, whether that be students, people looking to grow their own business, freelancers, marketing teams, up to kind of the bigger marketing managers for enterprise businesses. We can help absolutely everybody. So some of the issues you might face, and we will all have suffered from one of these, whether it's LinkedIn or another social network. Specifically LinkedIn, I think the biggest challenges are, but the biggest opportunities as well. First one is staying consistent. So to kind of please the algorithm, it's like any social network, you have to stay consistent, and that doesn't necessarily mean posting every day, but posting kind of on a regular basis, whether it be once, twice a week. Staying consistent in terms of that weekly posting. The second one being lacking content ideas. I get this still, even though I've now have a tool to do it. If I wasn't using that tool, I'd still have this issue, and I still have the issue. So then I use our tool in particular. So when you get to LinkedIn, you think, oh, I don't really know what to talk about, or I know I want to talk about, but I'm not sure how to say it. I think that's it's a huge challenge we all have. And then actually creating a piece of content. I've spoken to people where it's taken them like 2 hours to put together a post. I have this issue when it comes to things like email newsletters and blogs. I just have this mental block. My brain just cannot do it for some reason. But give me like a short or long form like social media post, and I'm absolutely fine, which is ridiculous because a blog is just an extended version of that post, I guess. But I think just the thought of actually trying to put it together is daunting. So yeah, the third kind of issue being around that content creation, and it taking a long time to put something together, or being worried, I guess, about how people may perceive it and how people will react to it. There's quite a few actions within this presentation, just so that you go away with something to think about, and you can actually take things that we do every single day to help improve your personal brand. The first kind of action is to write down 3 goals. If anyone wants to share theirs in the chat, that'd be great. It doesn't have to be 3, but 3 is a good rule of thumb in terms of, again, being consistent and having different things to focus on. So the idea of the goals is that you get to the end of every week, every month, and then you can kind of make yourself accountable. The first goal could be something really simple, like signing up to LinkedIn, and then you can just tick that off. And if you're already on there, it could be, I'm going to update my profile, something like that. So at least you got 3 things. And if you're a little bit more advanced, it could be like, I'm going to be more consistent in my posting, or I'm going to try a different format, for example. So always good to write down goals, and then you can come back at the end of everything and see how well you've done. The first kind of step to especially building a personal brand on LinkedIn is having your kind of structure in place. Now, my old analogy, and I don't know if I've stolen this or somebody else, again, I'm not sure who came up with this idea, but the way I see it is a house, and your structure and your profile is the kind of the bricks, the mortar, the roof, the ceiling, everything else you need to kind of to keep everything together, and that's your kind of profile. And then I always feel like the nice shiny things inside, the TVs, the couch, the cushions, they're all your content. So you fill your house with the nice piece of content, but you need that structure kind of to begin with. I'll have to Google that later and see who came up with it. So first thing, again, another action is to kind of spring clean your profile. If you've already done this recently, then great. But here's some things to kind of check out. Creator mode. This slide has literally just changed like a couple of days ago, because LinkedIn has changed the way that they're operating with creator mode. So creator mode ultimately was like a signal to LinkedIn to say, you basically turn it on, and then it would say to LinkedIn, I'm a serious creator. I want you to take my content seriously. I want you to share it with more people. And then it will give you access to resources that other users didn't have, which was more around kind of analytics, being able to share newsletters and stuff like that. That's changed now that they're rolling it out to everybody. So the first thing to do is just check out Creator Mode, just give it a search on Google and just see what tools are available, and just make sure that you can utilizing those tools, effectively when you do start to create more content. The second one is definitely update the URL. So you can go into your settings in LinkedIn, and most profiles will end in a number, which none of us want to be a number. It's also not great for people being able to find you. So what you can do is you can change this as much as you want as well. You can create a URL that ends in something that relates to you. So it could be something you're looking to achieve, or it could just be your specialism, for example. So you can put in different keywords. So I think mine is like social media CEO or something like that. So make it relevant to you. It's also nice when you share it as well, and it's got unique keywords. Banner, definitely. Again, I don't work for Canva, but that's the only thing I can really think of. If you want to create a free and quick kind of banner for your profile, it's the first thing that people see. The ones I think are really good are the ones that maybe have, an additional image of yourself, or just kind of a little bit of content to say what you specialize in or how you can help people. It's kind of the first thing that people see when you go on a profile. So I definitely recommend kind of refreshing that. Or if you haven't got one, which a lot of people don't take advantage of it, create one on Canva, download it for free, and upload it. Update your profile picture, definitely where you can. Again, it's just a kind of great signal for people when they come on your profile and they see like an updated version of you. I mean, admittedly, my previous LinkedIn picture, I think, had been there for about 5 years, but I was like, you've got to do it yourself, proof is in the pudding sort of thing. So I've recently updated mine. So it's a good opportunity to introduce yourself. And then the bio content. So in your bio, I try to write it more of a story if you can, but give people like an insight into yourself, your experience, and what you kind of focused on, and what you either how you can help people or what you're looking for. You've got a good opportunity there to kind of put in keywords as well. So yeah, a nice short kind of introduction paragraph, and try to kind of update this. I'd say probably every 6 months or so. You don't need to, unless your job is changing quite a lot, or what you're doing changes. You probably only need to kind of look at every 6 months, I'd say. So the first action, of course, or second action on the presentation is the spring clean that profile, and that could be one of your goals in particular. Now, just in terms of best practice, just 3 kind of guides to this. I think the first one is really important, and around developing an authentic voice. I started to post to LinkedIn really seriously when I started my business in 2015, and my authentic voice was effectively just memes. That's all I liked. I just found them really funny, whether they related to work or not, and just sharing like more personal content than anything. You'll see a lot of comments on LinkedIn now that people moan and say this isn't Facebook, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, it's a social network, and people buy from people. So the more personal you can be, I saw a dog before, super cute dog. Trust me, dogs get a lot of engagement. If you put your dog on LinkedIn, like he's going to get. I think Franklin is like, yeah, it's one of the best performing posts I've ever had, and nothing to do with me. So try and just see what works for you. Like, you don't have to do that. It doesn't have to be memes and personal stuff, but just being authentic and sharing your unique thoughts is really important. You'll also find it a lot easier as well, rather than trying to be something you're not, or trying to appease other people. Just be yourself, and it just makes the content creation process a whole lot easier. And some things that I share don't kind of resonate with some people, and you never try and offend anyone, but it might not land so well, and you take that on board, as feedback, but you can't please everybody. There's 900 million people on there. You're never going to do that. Second one I would say is use brands and individuals as case studies. So not necessarily copying them, but if you got a particular brand tone of voice or brand style, even individually, if you see people that you like, that you follow, you don't necessarily have to copy their content, but there might be a particular way that they deliver it, or a particular style, or even like a design that they use in their content. Take them as examples and utilize what you've got. And the third one is building consistency. So yeah, it's a really important thing to keep being consistent. You'll see reach and engagement increase as you do that. I think you should be comfortable in the consistency, so don't try and do too much too soon. But the more that you share consistently, the more that people will start to see it and start to resonate with it. Going to kind of hashtag later, but LinkedIn is now starting to move away from hashtags, simply because the AI is so powerful that it can kind of understand the content and the tone of your post anyway, without the need for hashtags. So you'll start to see those kind of disappear in the next kind of, I'd say 6 to 12 months anyway. I would still use them for now, but just be aware that it reads the content anyway, so it'll understand who to share that with. So we'll talk about it later, but when you're creating a piece of content, think about who do you want to reach, and that's a good action to write down. It's like, who do I actually want to target, and then kind of work backwards in terms of what content do they want to see. So let's say, for example, you were starting, a marketing company, and you were targeting, I don't know, recruiters, for example. You would kind of work backwards and think, well, what do recruiters want to see? What do they want to read? How can I offer value to them? Do it that way. So then once you kind of set up your audiences, you can then start to create content around those people. And LinkedIn is smart enough to then, it doesn't have to be salesy, but if you kind of subtly kind of mention the people you're trying to target, or somehow within your copy, it will reach them, and you'll be surprised who kind of start to engage with your content. What I would do is keep these three kind of ideas in mind. The first one is mainly focused around themes. Themes are great for creating different pieces of content. I usually stick to 3 different themes. One could be personal things, like going back to the dog again. You have a dog. If you like rock climbing, if you review movies or something, it could be something like this. That could be one theme, and then you post, on one particular day about that particular theme. So let's say that was a Monday. On the Wednesday, you might talk about the business, or your career journey. That could be the second one, and then the third one could be something completely different. It could be something work related. A 40-40-20 split is pretty good in terms of being consistent and actually generating lots of engagement. The first 40 is usually personal. We find that just generally gets a lot more, and people might think it's counterintuitive, but it just helps warm people up to you as a person. The other 40, again, more about kind of behind the scenes in terms of your job, your role, your business. And then the other 20 is like the specific job and company related stuff. So you'll find that it doesn't get as much engagement, which is crazy considering it's a professional social network. But you will just see that the personal and the kind of the behind the scenes stuff gets a lot more engagement. So sharing things like your opinions, information or advice is great. It shows that you got the finger on the pulse. So if you work in one particular industry, it's great to be sharing themes around that industry. So that every time someone looks at your profile, they think this person knows what they're talking about. They're obviously on top of it. Definitely speak about topics in your field, field of interest or expertise. You could take, for example, news articles from websites that you are interested in, or you think the people you're trying to target are interested in. You could do that and then provide a comment, those sort of things, or break them down into like a Canva carousel if you wanted to. And then speak to a specific audience where you can. If it's personal, maybe not so much, but if you're kind of talking about business topics, then it makes sense. So the action for this slide is to write down 3 themes. They might not come straight away, but you could split them into that kind of 40-40-20 split if you wanted to, with personal be your first one. And then from the themes, you can then start to generate different content ideas within those 3 themes. And then you've got a good base there to then start posting Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Just as an example, it doesn't have to be that, but it's a really good option. I find that the content I post on, oh sorry, I think I've don't know what I've done there. We're back. Yeah, I find that the better content I usually share at the beginning of the week, and then the other 40 on the Wednesday, and then the 20 on the Friday, because usually towards the end of the week you don't get as much engagement and people are starting to wind down, through the week. And then just in terms of a journey, it does take quite a while. I think I started this kind of process back in 2015, but that's when the algorithm was pretty slow and pretty, I don't know, archaic. It's changed a lot, so there's a lot more of an opportunity now to make progress quickly, especially when you start to post consistently. Kind of the 4 things I would like to highlight is definitely show your unique personality. We're all different. We all have different hobbies, different interests. It's a really good one in terms of standing out, and stick to it as well. Don't let anyone tell you differently. If that's your personality, then that's you. So yeah, absolutely stick to it. Definitely stay up to date with industry news. It could just be one thing a week that you kind of dropping into people's feeds. It really does work, and then people start to realize, oh, this person knows exactly what they're talking about. I'm going to go to this person for this particular topic. Third one being building a comfortable consistency. I know I mentioned this before. I think that's what it's all about. It's been what's comfortable for you. Don't try and do too much too soon, because then you might hate the process and then you'll think, oh, I can't be bothered doing this. So yeah, try and be comfortable when you do it, even if it's just once a week, just to kind of get used to it, start to feel comfortable, and then you'll start to improve from there. And then finally, yeah, don't kind of be afraid to use humor if you need to. If that's your personality, or if you have like a funny take on a particular news article or topic, definitely share it. Don't be afraid just because it's LinkedIn and it's professional that you can't have a sense of humor. I've seen a lot of accounts do really well because they, that is their personality. So feel free to share memes. I'll give you a like, definitely. And then obviously we had all of these problems, we had all of these challenges, so we created a tool for it called Vulse, which the meaning behind Vulse, which a lot of people ask, why that name, is keeping your finger on the virtual pulse. That's the whole reason behind it. We created a platform where it solves those 3 challenges of being consistent. So we created an account scoring system, so you can see how well your content is performing each week. So let's say you post, once in a week, you might get a score of, I don't know, it could be 10 out of 100. It takes into different factors like number of times that you post that week, what the engagement has been like. You'll get that score, and then the next week you have a chance then obviously to improve on that score. So you kind of got a benchmark to go against, and we're introducing a tool so that every user will get a unique insight into their score and how to improve it, so be unique to yourself. So that helps with consistency. We also have post creation tools, so you can create content immediately using AI, and it's a combination of our rules that we set with the university and a little bit of AI, and it just allows you to create themes very, very quickly. So you put in an idea for a theme, it'll give you content ideas, you select one, and it'll create a content matched to your tone of voice. So it will take the last 5 LinkedIn posts that you've created and match that tone. If you haven't created one before, it will give you what it thinks is closest to you based off your LinkedIn profile. And then as you start to post more from Vulse, you'll get a much closer tone, which ultimately saves you time. And then finally, you can kind of analyze everything, see how your content is performing, what's performing the best, and also draft, schedule, post out, standard kind of stuff. There is a process to follow. I'm a massive fan of processes. there's a book called Built to Sell by John Warrillow, I think his name is. It's quite American, but it's a good book. I don't read any business books, and I think this is one of two that I've got. That's that's how good it is, because I don't read at all. But yeah, Built to Sell is all about processes, and it's about building a business that can survive without you. So whether you go on a holiday, or you decide to take some time out of the business, or if you ultimately want to sell the business. Again, not getting paid for this, not a plug. I just love the book, and I just, yeah, became a massive fan of the process. And it's good for making you accountable as well, so you can something to follow. But also, let's say if you want to hire, a new member of staff, they can also then follow the same process. So it really works. So the action for this is to follow this process. It works really well. I do it myself. First one I usually do in the morning is connect with like 10 people that I want to speak to. Now, not all of those will end up as connections, so you kind of got to plan for that. So next day you might do, I don't know, 15 or 20, or you can still stick to the 10, but start with that kind of early. Then you want to kind of comment on posts that are relevant to you. So you'll go through the feed on LinkedIn. Ideally, if you can do it early in the morning, it's great. Before kind of people are starting work, it's always good. Comment on 3 posts, so it's not too much. Comments work really, really well. If you're adding kind of insightful comments, or you just kind of want to even just speak to the person that has created that content, by commenting, you can really get on their radar. It works really well, and it also kind of warms up the algorithm. And then the third one is posting. So once you kind of connected and then commented, if you post, once those people connect with you, your content will appear very high in their feeds. So it's a great opportunity to be thinking, right, I'm connecting with these people. What do I want them to see? So then you post out, and then they'll see it as soon as they connect with you. Try and avoid editing posts as much as you can where possible, and definitely test multiple formats where possible. That could be, images usually do best. Then things like image carousels, which you now have to upload again in PDF, and then videos tend to not work as well, but hopefully that'll change soon. Definitely start to engage with users who comment on your posts. Like, do that as quickly as possible. It's just good to kind of feed again that algorithm, and like every single comment that gets added, and just reply to them, just keep the conversation going where you can, and just make some time to do it. You don't have to do it immediately, but yeah, if you can, that's great. But it might be easy if you just kind of make some time, put some time in your diary to do that. And then finally, make sure you're kind of monitoring all reactions, comments, shares, everything, and then connect with users that are second connections. So if someone comments on your post and you're not connected with them, then obviously connect. And I think there was a lot of I remember years ago, people were very cautious about who they connect with. Whereas I pretty much connect with everybody. It's just like an opportunity. It's a great network to have. Yeah, I don't see why not. In terms of not connecting. So yeah, definitely in terms of an action, follow this plan. It's really nice, and we'll share these slides as well, so you got all of this information. And that's kind of everything in terms of this presentation. The QR code will take you to our website. We've also set up a 20% discount code if you did ever want a subscription. It's Basecamp 20 if you want to use that. There's a 7-day free trial on our platform as well, so feel free to get signed up. 7 days. Get in touch with us as well if you got any feedback, you got any kind of feature ideas, anything at all that you think would help improve the platform, or would help you personally, or just generally if you've got any questions, please get in touch. So our email is hello@vulse.co. If you follow the QR code, then you'll get straight to the website. So yeah, feel free to get in touch. And yeah, I've seen a lot in the chat, so I'm now ready for questions.
Perfect. Cheers, Rob. Yeah, anyone with any questions as well, feel free to raise your hand, and we can start going through. Just one from me, and we had earlier today, just for reference as well, one of the our head of talent here at Basecamp Skills, so Emily Moffat, she's got quite a big presence. And one thing that she spoke about and sometimes struggled with at the beginning is overcoming that initial barrier of getting posting and becoming active. What are your top tips, I guess, for anyone who's unsure on, I guess, what their core pillars are or where they're going to be focusing their time and energy in terms of the content they're pushing out, and how do you get past that stage?
The first thing I'd say, use our platform, of course, use Voice, because we help solve that challenge. But also, I think creating those themes around what you're comfortable with. I think starting with kind of your personal side does help. I know some people are hesitant to do that and share kind of personal posts, but it kind of be easier. But also think about kind of the goals in mind as well. So ultimately, the end of the month, end of the year, even, like, what do I want to have achieved? And I think that helps generate those themes, pillars, buckets, whatever you want to call them. Simple ones are, yeah, just like I said before, personal stuff, things that you kind of doing behind the scenes at work, and then any kind of accomplishments or even thoughts on the industry as well. And then think about your audiences as well. What do they want to see? What kind of value can you be adding? And then mix it up and test it. So don't be worried about if everyone wants to go viral, but don't worry about that first post not going viral. It's very unlikely unless it's a dog or an animal of some sort. But yeah, just keep going, be consistent, and just test and see what works. And you will start to see things like resonate. You might drop off a theme, for example. You might find that one thing works really well. It's just all about testing it and just have fun with it, I would say.
Perfect. And a follow-up, I guess, on one of the things you say there about testing and everything. And in that sense, you mentioned that earlier on LinkedIn, it was quite slow in terms of the algorithm and changes. To make sure that you are giving yourself the best possible opportunity, keeping up with algorithm changes, is it just about constantly testing? Is it about just constantly engaging and you kind of that navigates itself? Or is there a better way in terms of making sure that you are up to date with the latest and greatest things happening?
Yeah, so we have a blog which offers like industry news. So any kind of changes we'll update pretty much every day. We'd not necessarily have a blog out every day, but every day we're checking. So if there's like a new update, we'll put it on our blog. Also things like websites like Social Media Today, they've got like a LinkedIn section. You can also sign up for LinkedIn's newsletters as well, which are good. You don't get them that often, but when you do get them, there's like some interesting kind of feature updates. You can use things like Google alerts. So you could set one up with LinkedIn in particular, or like LinkedIn feature, for example. I also say that actually using the platform is a really good way. When we developed the platform, we naturally went straight to LinkedIn and like kind of looked at their algorithm, but then there are certain things that it doesn't pick up on that become a trend, like TikTok almost, but through the LinkedIn feed. So you start to see kind of what posts are resonating with people, what posts are performing quite well, and something that the algorithm doesn't pick up on. So as in LinkedIn aren't going to just come out and tell you everything like how it works. Plus they haven't got time to kind of react, I guess. So just being able to see it in the feed, you'll start to see like different trends and take inspiration from other people's posts as well.
Yeah, I mean that's something I've seen quite a bit actually on LinkedIn. There's two content creators. One of them, if anyone follows Chris Donnelly, he does loads in terms of he looks at what good managers look like within a company and what bad managers, and that's the main ones that do quite well is what a bad manager looks like. But I've seen a lot of styles in a similar way, which is screenshots of bad conversations with managers. But I see a lot of people doing a similar type of content, but they're not doing it necessarily in a way that it's like you're stealing my content. They're supporting each other, they're liking and commenting, and I think that works quite well for helping them grow their personal brands.
People love to give their opinions as well. So you can create I always say with a piece of content, trying to have like a call to action at the end. So whether it's comment or add your thoughts or sharing it, for example, people, yeah, love to have their opinion. So I always find the posts that do well are if you're a designer, for example, if you've got, let's say, for example, you decide to redesign Coca-Cola's logo, for example, or create a product mock-up, or even if you're starting your own business and you've got a logo and you've got 4 different designs, sharing those is really good for engagement because people, plus you get the feedback as well for nothing. You don't have to pay for it. So it could be something really productive for you if you're like designing a logo, but also a good way of getting opinions on like your style or tone, or it could be anything, to be fair. But yeah, they're kind of, which one do you prefer? 1, 2, 3, 4. They seem to work really, really well. Yeah, it depends what you do as well. If you're a designer, obviously it's a little bit easier because you can share visual things. Where I would say with content is always I would test between text and image the most. But with the image, you kind of take up that real estate within the feed. So you're taking up loads of that space when someone logs in, with using an image. So I'd always try to use an image kind of where possible.
Yeah, amazing. I've shared your blog as well in the Zoom chat. So for anyone who is looking for any tips, and I think you've got some guides on there as well, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, feel free to check out Vulse. And I mean, the last thing from me was I had no clue YouTube used to be a dating site. I'm trying to imagine how that worked.
Yeah, I think that went back to like 2000 and I think it was like 2004 maybe, or something like that, or 3, maybe something like that. And yeah, they set it up where, this is the days of, very olden days. It feels like the olden days now. But yeah, people like putting their videos on, giving them a bit of information so then somebody else could watch it and then see if they like them, and then they go on a date, that sort of thing. And then they realized that people were just uploading stupid videos of like cats and monkeys and stuff like that. And then they got a lot more engagement through that. So they pivoted and then created YouTube.
Right, it's been a good pivot, hasn't it?
Yeah,
I've seen
just a bit.
some of those older videos where it's like, yeah, you film your 30-second clip trying to sell yourself. So, I mean, it's a good change on their side. And then are you happy for people to connect with you on LinkedIn? I always think that's a really good way for,
Yeah,
I mean, a big
always.
networking, isn't it? So
Yeah,
perfect.
I just get prepared for memes. That's all I say. That's all I share.
Brilliant. Well, I can't see any questions. That doesn't seem like it's been discussed in the chat already. So if I have missed anything, just shout up before I let you go, Rob. But really appreciate it. Thanks for jumping on. Great to hear everything, and I'm sure you'll have a few people jumping on in a second on Vulse and using your QR code. Nazia's asked what your LinkedIn is. Is the best way just to go through Vulse, or?
Yeah, you can search for Rob Illidge. My surname is weird. I should have put it on the slides actually. It looks like 3 L's or 3 I's. So it's ILLIDGE. But yeah, Rob at Vulse, or Annika, which is ANNIKA, at Vulse as well.
Amazing. We have that information as well, actually. So I'll put that in our Slack groups afterwards so everyone can see.
Yeah, feel free to get in touch. More than happy to help. And yeah, I should get paid to promote LinkedIn, but I don't. Well, I'm a huge advocate of it. It's a completely underutilized platform. So if you can kind of start now, you got a huge chance, a huge opportunity there.
Amazing. Perfect. Cheers, Rob. Really appreciate it.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Mark. Take care.
Bye.
Amazing. Let me pause that recording.